We are HTLA Radio 1. You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. We will add your distinctiveness, your advertisers, and your sponsors to our own. Resistance is futile.
Yes, resistance is futile. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be to you. You have tuned into HTLA Radio 1 New York, and it's time for the Film 101. Yeah. Got some good stuff for you today. We got some stuff on the new release from DJI. They're doing the live press conference as we speak here. So you're probably not listening to me right now. You're probably over there. They released their new Inspire drone. Yes, the Inspire 1, they're calling it. Also got a look at new 35 super millimeter sensor micro 4/3 mount 4K camcorder from JVC. Got a couple other things, too, including an interesting little review from Alex Buono about the Shane Hurlbut Illumination Experience. Yeah, Shane Hurlbut. Yes, the man who was too busy to come on my show. He's out there illuminating everyone. Well, we'll hear from one of his disciples of light and see just what's going on with that illumination experience. And another little nice piece of tidbit kit come out. Yes, Zacuto's new recoil. Yes, the one that's even got Philip Bloom Raven. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back for our first segment of Film 101. The big intro. Yes, welcome everybody to Film 101. I am your host, Christopher John Taylor, and I work every day at HTLA Radio 1 New York. Yes, I do. 56 degrees right now in Central Park and a clear, semi-moonlit night. Yes. It's weird that it's still 56 degrees, but hey, who's complaining? I got that blue northerner coming that's going to drop us down to minus 300. So it's going to be a really stiff kind of Christmas. Badoom-cha. Yeah, there you go. On our show tonight, as I previously mentioned in the segue, we're going to be looking at DJI's new Inspire 1. Yes, the new 4K drone. We're also going to be looking at a new 4K camera offering from JVC for around the $4,000 mark. Yeah. Zacuto's new Recoil 2. Yes, the new edition. Apparently so much more, enhanced, refined, redesigned, something. Yeah. Well, it's supposed to be really good anyway, so we'll be sure to run through that for you. But first tonight, we're going to hear from Alex Buono, who had the chance to go through Shane Hurlbut's cinematography workshop, the Illumination Experience. The 25-city tour ends this weekend in Los Angeles. Oh, geez, I wonder if he'd be able have time to come on the show for an interview. No, he's too busy. That's fine. I'll just get Christian Bale instead. Yeah, so let's just get this out of the way. Shane Hurlbut is a maniac. As many of you have seen for yourself, that dude is a force of nature. Yes, he shoots big movies and brings top-shelf ASC-level credentials to the table, but beyond that, he brings a level of energy and passion for cinematography education that is as yet unrivaled. There you go. Rather than offer a straight play-by-play, I thought I'd walk through the top 5 things that I personally learned about cinematography by watching Shane's workshop. Number 1, the concept of the keyframe. Yes, if you had to convey an entire scene in one image, what would that image be? This is one of the best lessons in the entire workshop, I think, he says. It's something that we all do unconsciously when we read scripts. Certain images resonate in your brain, and those key images inform the design of the entire project. The lesson that I learned here from Shane is to make that unconscious process much more conscious, and to deliberately decide on a key image for every scene. Okay, I'm just going to interject there. You should be doing that anyway. Go back to Storyboarding 101, which should be long before this process. But anyway, yes. So it's also a safety so that if push comes to shove and you have to start combining shots, you've already decided the most important elements in the image to capture. Great idea. Number 2, light study. One of the most elaborate constructions of the workshop is something that Shane jokingly calls the pirate ship. It's a circular dolly track with multiple light sources, a bounce source, Kino source, and a hard Fresnel source, mounted on the boom arm of a Fisher 10 dolly. Shane places an actor in the center of the circle and is able to quickly test how different types of light sources look on the actor's face at different angles. In this section, Shane also mentions his background as an assistant to legendary still photographer Herb Ritz, where he lit some of Ritz's most iconic photographs, and you can really tell that Shane has some deep knowledge to share about lighting the human face. What I really appreciate about this section of the workshop is how Shane digs into the subtleties of lighting. Anyone can pick up a cinematography book and learn the basics, key light, fill light, backlight, etc., but Shane really takes the time to demonstrate the nuances of how you actually set those lights by identifying the classic key light positions, the wedge, Rembrandt position, the eyeshadow position, etc. He shows you how moving the key around the actor, even a few degrees, can dramatically change the feeling of the shot. I've shot a lot of camera tests during prep, but they often feel more techie than creative. Shane's concept of shooting a light study of the actors is such a smart way to use the precious prep time to make creative discoveries about how you're going to light your actors. Yeah, so. Next little bit of piece of common sense here. Look before you light. Yes. Shane explained that his approach to any new location is first to set up the camera and see what's happening naturally. He'll scroll through color temperature settings to see how the existing light is reacting and scroll through ISO and lens settings to see how much additional light he actually needs. I am absolutely guilty of the opposite approach, Alex says. I get the electrics working and start blasting the light around the set before the camera is even up. It feels proactive and responsible, but I definitely can lead to doing way more work than necessary. It can also mean that you never saw the bit of magic that was happening naturally. The bottom line is that today's camera sensors are so sensitive, it's worth looking at the natural light on camera before you start pulling out the big guns and spending hours lighting a set when maybe all you really need is just a touch of fill light. Good tips. Yeah, good tips. Number 4, DIY lighting. One of the most fun turns in the workshop is when Shane demonstrates how he lit a portrait shot from the Rat Pack using traditional lighting instruments. Chimera keys, Leica backlight, Kino fill light, but then he switched gears to DIY mode and recreated the exact same look using a lighting package sourced from Home Depot for about $200. It's tempting to see these unconventional lights and assume that they're just a parlor trick for the sake of a workshop, when in fact these are totally legitimate tools that are now used on movies big and small. Shane mentioned he used homemade batten strips on almost every movie he's ever shot, from We Are Marshall to Terminator Salvation and Need for Speed, and his newest film, Fathers and Daughters. There, another pretty good cinematographer named Roger Deakins, who also is a big fan of batten lights, he uses them all the time for the same reasons that Shane demonstrates. And that's another kind of key thing that, a lot of us older school film guys, we were stuck with using all the traditional lighting because of the effect on film, because we were actually exposing film. But now, of course, we're in that digital age where lighting just opens up to pretty much anything you want. And number 5, Alex goes on, the 33% rule. He says, this is my favorite lesson from the whole workshop. It's not techie, it's not lighting lesson or a great new piece of gear. It's way more important than all that, and something I've felt for years but never quite been able to articulate. Shane explains that there's a temptation to define the role of a cinematographer as simply helping the director manifest his vision. But that is actually only a small part of your job as a cinematographer, 33% to be precise. Another 33% of the job is motivating the crew and keeping all the departments working together, making the same film. This is actually the same advice I was given by Don Burgess ASC on my very first job in the film biz, as a camera intern on Twister. I used to tag along behind Burgess, constantly asking, how many stops are you underexposing the shadows? How many stops are you letting the skies overexpose? He finally said to me, you got to learn that being a cinematographer is not just about f2.8. A third of the job is being below-the-line leader, to inspire the troops and keep the peace when the hours get long and the budgets get cut. As Shane explained, the final 33% is working with the producers to stay on schedule and on budget. I actually found it really gratifying to hear Shane say these words out loud. Sometimes you can find yourself in a tug of war between the director and the producers, and you may feel like you're somehow selling out if you sympathize with the plight of the producers. But the fact is, you're all making this movie together. The producers are not your enemy, and the sooner you realize this, the faster you'll be treated like a professional. Of course, all of these hats you wear are ultimately in service of the director's vision anyway, and this 33% rule is a great way to keep it all into perspective. Needless to say, these top 5 lessons are just the tip of the iceberg. There were so many other takeaways for me personally, ranging from a really smart way of logging your camera data for eventual reshoots to some some innovative new tricks with movie, operating to some great advice about how to prepare for job interviews with directors. The cinematography workshop program is over 7 hours long, and if that's not enough for you, there's a second program that covers a separate full day. It's a lighting masterclass portion of the tour. Speaking as both a cinematographer and as someone who spent last summer on a cinematography workshop tour myself, I was really blown away with how much I learned from this program. So there you go, gang. That's the illumination experience in a nutshell. And some good takeaways from Alex there on that. And, I got to say, when Shane started to, make himself available, and this was actually, a lot or a long time before he actually started getting into anything as organized as the Illumination Tour. He was helping filmmakers on Twitter before that, a couple of years before that, I think. He was, he's always had that open door policy at Hurlbutt Visuals to, if you want to sign on and be a PA or an intern, he's always had his door open as much as possible for that. And, he definitely should be rewarded, I think, for giving that kind of a contribution back to the industry as a whole, as it, progresses in technology and increases in digital technology and certainly expands with the broader and broader range of individuals that are seeking to enter this kind of creative area, whether it be just as a hobby or whether it be, indeed along the lines of going the professional routes and getting with the unions and all that other cool stuff. So I would strongly suggest you check out the Illumination Tour, go for the downloads if you can pull that together and check those out, because it's absolutely great information, and it's definitely worth your time. So we are going to go for our first commercial break here, and when we come back, we're going to get into the DJI Inspire 1. Yeah, we'll be back in 2 minutes, gang.
And you're listening to HTLA Radio 1 New York.
So do you guys think being fast is better than being slow?
Yes! It's better to be fast, to not be bitten by a werewolf, and then you'll be turned into one, and you'll have to stay in, and then you'll have to get shaped because you'll be too hot, and then you're like... which means I wish I was back to a human.
What?
It's not complicated. Faster is better. And AT&T is the nation's fastest 4G LTE network for your iPhone 5.
Glasses. White Rum has a new captain.
In 2006,
Captain Morgan White Rum, 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
The world is facing one of the biggest crises in the history of history. Girls are getting hotter and hotter. This is causing guys to lose their cool. It's happening everywhere. That's why the people at Axe have developed the new Axe Chill collection. It helps guys keep their cool before it's too late. Girls are getting hotter. Keep your cool with the new Chill collection from Axe.
When you have cable and your picture freezes, you get irritable. When you get irritable, your work suffers. When your work suffers, the wrong man is convicted. When the wrong man is convicted, he has time to think. When he has time to think, he thinks about you a lot. And when he thinks about you a lot, your house explodes. Don't have your house explode. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
And you're listening to HTLA Radio 1 New York.
Yes, you are listening to HTLA Radio 1 New York, and I am Christopher John Taylor, and I am delivering to you this week's edition of Film 101 Production Defined. And just before the break there, we blasted through Shane Hurlbut's Illumination Experience Tour with Alex, and yeah, great stuff. Definitely check it out. HurlbutVisuals.com, if nowhere else. I know the Illumination Tour does have its own website, and I can't, for the life of me, think of what that is right now, and Mark is not holding anything up in the window, so I don't know. It's the professionalism that I respect. There you go. And now we're going to, we're going to talk about some DJI stuff. You know, the folks who bring you all of the lovely drones, the camera drones that let you fly around in a little remote control helicopter with a camera on it. And, it's a marvel and a breakthrough for filmmaking, isn't it? Well, I don't think so, but that's just me, and we'll get into that. But let's go to the live stream they got right now and see what they're doing.
DJI started with the dream of making even the most complex technology accessible to everybody. And since then, we've launched a series of products that have revolutionized creation, including flight controllers, aerial platforms, and handheld stabilizers. We started by designing the first commercial RC helicopter flight control, and very quickly moved into multi-rotor flight controllers, including NASA and the A2. At the time, remote-controlled flight was essentially limited to hobbyists, and DJI produced some of the most popular hobby kits available for building quadcopters and hexacopters. Professional multi-rotors in the Spreading Wings series followed very quickly. These are large, heavy-lift aerial platforms that are capable of carrying image-stabilized or large stabilized camera payloads using our ZenMuse gimbal technology. Now, ZenMuse gimbals incorporated high-torque brushless motors, allowing for unparalleled camera stabilization in the air. Just under 2 years ago, we released the Phantom flying camera. Now, this camera has taken the world by storm, and it really has enabled almost anyone to put a camera into the air. Most recently, we released the Ronin, an affordable handheld stabilizer for the film industry. Now, because of the enormous impact that DJI has had, we've been able to expand and are now over 2,800 employees worldwide from 20 in 2006. We are an international company with offices in China, Hong Kong, Japan, the United States, and Europe. And 2014 has been DJI's most successful year to date, and we continue to grow exponentially. This year we opened new offices in San Francisco and in Rotterdam. This growth has made the Phantom and consumer drones in general an increasingly ubiquitous part of our culture. What was once a category only for small niche is now seen everywhere, from The Big Bang Theory to, most recently, South Park. So what does this growth really mean, and what is the impact on the world? Now, one area, of course, is in filmmaking and photography. As a photographer myself, I've always enjoyed capturing shots like this, although this wasn't captured by me. This was captured by our good friend here, and now Randy J. Braun. But I always knew there was more to what might be possible. And what if you could unlock that third dimension of flight? And suddenly, shots like this become possible. Now, this picture was taken by Randy as well. You can see him on the kayak there. And he threw his Phantom into the air when he sensed that something was close to him. And this is what came out of the camera. So there was, in fact, something very close to him. This new technology has allowed us to tell stories in a completely different way. And photos like this, which were virtually impossible just a few years ago, are now almost commonplace. I mean, not exactly this photo, but the creators around the world have really embraced aerial imaging. Now, skypixel.com is a new website dedicated to the sharing of amazing imagery. It's the perfect place to share and see incredible content from creators around the world. And it's not just filmmakers and photographers who are benefiting. People across the world are doing things that are completely new from the air in a wide range of industries. They're creating compelling imagery about their businesses, and they're also exploring places that people have long not been able to go, like Chernobyl here on the right. They're also being used extensively in travel and tourism, and in wildlife monitoring and conservation. In more practical use, real estate agents are flying Phantoms and other aerial imaging platforms to get unique views of homes for sale, and archaeologists are using the bird's eye view to gain greater understanding of ancient cultures. And we're seeing 3D mapping, interactive surveying, and sports teams, such as the ones at Stanford and UCLA, are using DJI technology to train and to win. Dozens of industries are currently using DJI products for both creative and industrial pursuits. In particular, I'd like to point out two of our DJI creators in the audience, Dr. Sung-Fu Lee, who is researching the use of multicopters to provide wireless communication and connectivity in disaster areas, and Paul Braun with Taking Autism to the Sky, who is helping kids in the autism spectrum to gain a better understanding of their place in the world. All of these innovators have been using the platform as is, but that is about to change. What is possible now is only limited by the imagination. We're introducing the DJI SDK for Phantom. Now, we've spent years developing flight platforms and are now opening access to everybody to see what all of you can create. The mobile software development kit supports iOS and Android, and developers are able to control a Phantom's camera for access to real-time video with full camera control. There's access to live telemetry, including GPS location, aircraft status, battery level, your speed, and more. Flight control has been opened up. You can control the Phantom in flight. You can upload and download waypoints and automatically take off and land. And for security, all of the communication between the Phantom and your mobile device is encrypted. We're already seeing some amazing applications being developed by our early partners. Now I'd like to introduce Antoine Martin from Pix4D. who will talk about some of the things that they are doing with the SDK.
Thank you, Eric. I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to build on the ease of use of DJI's flying camera and integrate it with our platform. I'm excited to turn the Phantom into a mapping tool, thanks to the software development kit. Pix40 is enabling autonomous mapping. We have a software called Pix40 Mapper that turns thousands of images, regardless of which camera it used, which lens, which orientation, and we turn that into 2D maps and 3D models very accurately. Our professionals have safety standards and respect privacy, and the software works automatically. We already have thousands of users using drones to be able to acquire images all over the globe. And today alone, 1,965 projects were done using images from drones. There's a myriad of different sectors in need of models and measurement daily: construction and civil engineering, landfill and mining, first responders, agriculture. We enable the construction site manager to inspect, to measure, to collaborate on a design, or to look at a critical structural problem. We enable the farmer to only fertilize the right amount of nitrogen, or to quickly react to insufficient water needs. And we enable the architect to draw, to plan, to save, and to preserve. This is how our application works. Can we have the video, please?
Okay, thanks, DJI. That was very, very informative about everything but what we're doing here. It's nice. Yeah, so they're showing us the little flying around videos, and it's so exciting, and and they didn't talk about Inspire. Yeah, okay, well, never mind. Fine. See if I go to you guys again for your own information from now on. Yeah. Jeez. Well, anyway, the Inspire is, basically just another little drone with a little 4K camera on it. That's it. There you go. Why do I not sound thrilled, you may ask? Well, let's see. When the drones first came out, of course, maybe be fair. My perspective on the drones is somewhat, I guess, different than the majority of you independent filmmakers out there. Reason being is that when I see a new piece of gear, I look at it from the perspective of, I guess, a major motion picture filmmaker. I guess from a television series filmmaker. Not from an independent kind of float in the clouds creative that can pretty much do whatever they want. Now, don't get me wrong. When these drones first came out, I thought, hey, that's kind of cool. You know what? That saves us on having to rent that $500,000 helicopter to get those shots of our character and his family driving through the woods of Pennsylvania, or, that sweeping shot across a beach in a war movie, or, sure, okay. But then you kind of get to thinking about that, and, the budgets that you're already talking about for films on those scales, where you used to rent helicopters, but now you can just use one of these guys, they were kind of up there, They weren't cheap. They weren't low budge. So you really wouldn't do that anyway, because chances are you'd have to rent helicopters to actually be in shots, with your actors in them, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So it was kind of a non-thing, but I thought, okay, well, it's kind of cool. It can raise the bar for some independents out there that were previous to this technology kind of limited in the fact that they couldn't do those kind of sweeping shots in their films. So, that's where I saw the edge kind of be like, okay, that's workable. So that's good. But now that they've been out a number of years, still kind of not really excited anymore, because what do we see? Well, let's see. Philip Bloom. Yes, he did a very good example of what the majority of you all out there are doing with your drone cams. Yes, the flying all through and around Vietnam, I think it was, or where the hell was he? Fiji? I don't know, something like that. Some jungly kind of place with a bunch of sort of Asian, Persian kind of looking people. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and that's all you can do. And he did it well. Actually, he did it about the best I think I've ever seen it done. But he put together a little film. I think it was about 10 minutes long, and it's just flying over the jungles and through the trees and down by the dock and over the boats in the water. And yeah, it was in Vietnam, I think. Yeah. Yeah, and he did it, and it was done, and boom, okay, there it is. And that's it. What do you do about it? Yeah, next window. Yeah, not much there. Kind of cool. But that's about it. Tell a story? I'd think you'd be pretty much beret wearing and sitting in some little cafe somewhere talking about the inspiration and the feeling of the film. Yes, because I don't know. It's not. No. So, yeah, that's about what I got to say about that stuff. So, yeah, the new Inspire 1 from DJI Systems, and I think it's $2,800. Oh, yeah. There you go. And you can have that. $2,800, B&H, Adorama, all your usual outlets. Go for it. I'm sure you can even get it on Amazon. And you guys keep doing your little fly-around videos and putting them on the YouTube, and, yeah, you do that. But I'll take my $500,000 helicopter any other day. That's right. Oh, like to say shout-outs and hey-hays to Mr. Guy Shea. Yes, Guy Shea. There he is in the chat room in Spreaker here. Spreaker.com. Just hop on over here and punch in the old HTLA call letters, and you can come and hang out with me and Guy Shea. Yeah, so there's your DJI drone cam dealio right there. That's pretty much what that is. But don't go away. We still got some stuff going on here. First of all, the JVC 4K cam that they've just released for $4,000. Yeah. And like we needed another one, what the hell. And also the Zacuto. Yes, the new Recoil 2 rig. Yes, very, very versatile. This is something that actually Philip Bloom says, hey, I love it, mate. Yes, he does. So let's talk about the JVC cam for a second. Now, we've done a lot of cam discussions on this show, including my favorite, when we had the RE 65mm digital cinema camera here. That was sexy. And, of course, my favorites, the Sony F5 and 55, just for your all-around filmmaking. And then some other ones. We even got down to that new Sony FS7, I think it is, the 4K offering for under $10,000 from Sony. Not so much a big win on that one. It's kind of plasticky and cheapy, and I don't know, not real cool in my book. But what do you do? It's $10,000. What do you want, right? Well, JVC has launched a Super 35 sensor, micro 4/3 mount 4K camcorder for $4,000. If you think Sony has released quite a few cameras this year, JVC has just upped the ante by announcing their new 4K camcorders comprising a new range of 4K capture devices for the company. The cameras in the new range from JVC can be identified by a new badge on the side, 4K Cam. Yes, proudly showing the main feature of Ultra HD acquisition. Oh, you said the bad words again, Ultra HD. The hell is that? Go away. Come back when you got a 4K camera. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents again. Yes, for full HD 422 at 50 megabits per second. Oh, so you just made the broadcast quality standard. Good for you, little guy. Each one of the 4K cam recorders is geared towards different segments of freelancers to video professionals, starting with low-budget shooters looking to get into shooting 4K without breaking the bank, all the way up to professional videographers and cinematographers working in corporate event documentary and pop promo fields. Notice they didn't say cinema. No, don't go there. Well, it seems every manufacturer has joined the 4K party with new 4K cameras. This year, apart from Canon, rumor is their C300 successor will do 4K, hopefully internally, and will be announced sometime in early 2015. We think around NAB in the spring, if not much earlier. You can check the details of that from, them, Canon.com. The JVC GYHM170E compact 4K camcorder retails at $24.95 US. Yes, it's compact in size, but it's got 4K features. Yes, built-in ND filters, 1/4 and 1/16. That's it. It's 2 of them. That's kind of a rip. But I am talking $2,500 for that one, right? So, yeah, you're lucky you got an ND filter at all there, Chris. That's right. 12 times zoom lens. Wow. Yeah. 24 and 30p at 4K. That's all you get. 24 and 30. Yes. But you get full 1080p HD, 422 at 50 megabits per second. Recordable to SDHC and SDXC cards. Yeah, big deal. Integrated, blah, 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 blah. 1.2 to 3.5 zoom lens, 35 millimeter equivalent to 29.5 millimeters out to 354. I hate digital zoom. How about you? 24 times dynamic zoom in HD. An optical zoom and pixel mapping without resolution loss, so they say. Internal 4K HD at 150 megs a second, 24 and 30p. Recording Ultra HD onto SDXC cards, UHS 1 speed class 3. Yeah, so the cards are going to run you another $600. Live 4K HD output via HDMI. Yeah, okay. Not really a whole lot left to this camera, gang. A built-in microphone. We all know how lovely those sound. Completely useless. Wired remote control supported. 9 user button assignable functions. Well, okay, that's not too bad. 9 assignable buttons. That's all right. And the BNVF8 7.2 volt battery with AC adapter. Yeah. Now you get up into the $3,000 range. That's their HM200E. And let's look at those features. Whoa. Well, nothing really changed at all. No. Still UHD. Yeah, no. Now we go up to the top of the line there, the LS300E. Yes, $4,450. This is an interesting development. Sporting a micro 4/3 mount on a Super 35mm sensor dubbed AlpaSense, possibly developed internally by JVC or sourced from Sony or another manufacturer. Yes, the LS300E is a very capable machine with Ultra HD recording at 150 megs per second, which is higher than the 100 megs per second on the GH4. Oh, I see. I get it now. These cameras aren't to be, real cameras. They're comparing them with the GH4. Badumcha. Yeah. Good news is you can get Metabones adapters for these, and other smart or mechanical adapters will allow shooters to adapt almost any other lens onto the LS300. For me personally, the most intriguing feature is the variable scan mapping, which would technically allow for a variety of other format lenses such as a Super 16, C-mount, MFT, and any other with a smaller image circle than Super 35 to keep its native FOV. Now, their newly developed 4K 35mm CMOS image sensor, which is just that, they don't have any special company name for it. Micro Four Thirds system lens mount. Variable scan mapping maintains native angle of view for a variety of lenses, including Super 35 MFT and Super 16. Adapters available for PL and EF mount lenses, so you can pull out your primes or you can pull out your Canons. Either way. 4K UHD recording, 150 megabits per second, 2430p. That is it. That's the best of the best you can get for under $5,000 right there. Not so great. They also have released the SP100E remote head 4K cam camera system. Now, this little sucker is kind of interesting. It's got a control device, a little control box, I guess you could say, with a little monitor attached to it, and then a cable going out to the little tiny 4K camera, which is tiny and, yeah. Still with a Micro Four Thirds mount. You can have connection to the camera head via optional 1, 5, or 15 meter wired cables. No wireless is available at this time, but of course they will someday, maybe, hopefully. Yeah, and that's about it. That's the little dealio there. So yeah, thanks JVC. That's good news there. Really excited about that. Man, where do we get this stuff, Mark? It's terrible. Anywho, we're going for a second commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes with the Zacuto Recoil 2. Yeah.
To HTLA Radio 1 New York.
You walked into the hotel as a 5. But when she saw the room, you turned into a weird 7. When she saw the rooftop pool, you went to 11. You two should probably get a room. Oh, that's right. You already did. At Planet Earth's #1 accommodation site, Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Glasses. White Rum has a new captain. Introducing the all-new Captain Morgan White Rum. 5 times distilled for a smoother taste.
I've been eating Egg McMuffins since 1984. But when I saw Taco Bell made a waffle taco, I figured I would get with the times. So I got a haircut and I got some tighter pants. Lost my flip phone, got a smartphone, even took down my Loverboy poster. Now I'm eating waffle tacos and AM Crunch Wraps, and I just made like $700 on Craigslist.
Move on from your old McDonald's breakfast with Taco Bell's exciting new breakfast menu.
When your cable company keeps you on hold, you get angry. When you get angry, you go blow off steam. When you go blow off steam, accidents happen. When accidents happen, you get an eye patch. When you get an eye patch, people think you're tough. When people think you're tough, people want to see how tough. And when people want to see how tough, you wake up in a roadside ditch. Don't wake up in a roadside ditch. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
The world is facing one of the biggest crises in the history of history. Girls are getting hotter and hotter. This is causing guys to lose their cool. It's happening everywhere. That's why the people at Axe have developed the new Axe Chill Collection. It helps guys keep their cool before it's too late. Girls are getting hotter. Keep your cool with the new Chill Collection from Axe.
And you're listening to HTLA Radio 1 New York.
Yes, you are, and that, of course, is Guy Shea. Yes, we put him to work around here. Yeah, he's going to be rolling a new sports show, isn't he? Yes, he is. That's right. So the last little tidbit we got for you today on Film 101 Production Defined is all about what? Well, it's about the next generation recoil rig for your cinema production cameras, the Recoil 2 from Zacuto. And Zacuto's always put out the absolute top of the top stuff in the world of production camera support in particular, and the new setup's not any different really. You're gonna like this. So I'll let you check out the official release here.
Today we're going to introduce what we call the next generation recoil. Why don't you tell us what a recoil is?
The camera, first of all, has to be balanced, and for it to be balanced, it needs to sit right on your shoulder.
Or behind you even.
Well, in some cases it might be slightly behind you, depending on what you have for accessories. In order to do that, though, you need to have your optics up front, you need to have your focus control up front, and your camera control up front, because you can't access the camera when it's sitting on your shoulder. Once you have all those things and it's balanced, that's what makes a recoil.
The key to this system is our VCT universal base plate. You can either use a VCT tripod adapter plate, or we have a 1/4-20 and a 3/8 screw here, and you can actually put your tripod plate directly to the VCT system. You just pop on the pod, you pop off, and that camera's sitting quite a bit lower than it did in the first generation. It works with every camera on the market that is base plateable, which means it's got to have a flat bottom on it.
Right.
The base plate has over a 7-inch adjustable range. So as things get more front heavy, the camera slides back. As it gets back heavy, it slides forward. We've had some scenarios where the camera's hanging off the back of this even, but where the screw parts are on the camera, it's still on the plate.
Right.
There's obviously lots of accessories that can go on this thing, but the main one is this half cage, and it has a little piece of rail here, and you can move the rail along these 1/4-20s on the side, and that allows you to slide this half cage all the way forward or all the way back. The other thing that's really unique about this plate is that it has this rod riser. It allows you to mount the rods to the center of the lens, which is 85 mils, in order to mount a matte box. If you're using a follow focus only, doesn't really matter. But here is the critical part of our universal base plate, and it's this section right here. We've sort of learned that pretty much the balance point with cameras these days is where the lens meets the camera body, and that needs to be right in the center of the shoulder pad. It looks like nothing. It's 3 inches, but we're using that 3 inches in order to be able to hit the focus gear on the lens or the iris gear on the lens.
If you're using another brand that didn't have that extra rod real estate here, your rig is going to be front heavy no matter what you do.
Because you're going to have to slide your camera as far forward as possible,
Right.
and now the camera's going to be in front of you, and that's going to be incredibly fatiguing. That's not a recoil, and a recoil, you got to remember, is the tightest package you can create, and it sits on your shoulder
Right.
like an E&G camera.
With controls. Here is the Z-Drive and Tornado. It really is a combination of follow focus and hand grip all in one, which makes it so you never have to take your hand off like you would with a traditional follow focus and reach up here, which would be kind of tight anyway, and then also move the camera, or, have it move on you. Now, it's not always necessary to have this. Some people would prefer to actually grab the lens, especially if it's a little longer lens, and just focus traditionally.
But you are reaching back when you're doing that. It's
Yeah.
not like in the traditional way where you kind of grab the lens here. You're kind of grabbing it more by your cheek.
Right.
Now, on the right side here, we have a basic hand grip. There are other options, like on the Canon kits and some of the Sonys, they have grip relocators where you can actually relocate the hand grip, which is wonderful. Now you have camera control. On the DSLRs, we have our Oki box, which gives you camera control.
With our control grip, you're going to be able to do everything from zooming with a zoom motor to control all the menus, start and stop, punch in, all the fun features that you...
Pre-programmed buttons.
Exactly, that you want.
Iris control.
All on this hand without, again, letting go and having to find the camera.
And it's self-powered with a 5D battery, so you don't have to have a battery in the back. So the last part of the puzzle is the optics.
Right.
We need to let people know that when you go to a next-gen recoil, you have to have some sort of viewing system, whether it's a monitor or an EVF.
Here you see our gradical EVF. Now you could use our EVF from before. That was essentially the telephone screen size.
Yep.
You could use a monitor. You can use any one of those. All the mounting can come off our handle from here. Anyway,
Or it could come off a rod.
It can come off a rod too as well.
But with this particular kit,
It's really universal to all these cameras, this particular kit. We have it with a DSLR in it. That's how we kind of build it. But it's universal to all these cameras using this half cage.
It's hard to believe, but this particular kit can take everything from a mirrorless camera all the way up to a camera the size of an Epic.
Right.
So this DSLR kit has our half cage, and the half cage obviously has some mounting screw-type ports, which we're not a big fan of because anything you put in a screw port can come loose. And directors will walk up to your system, grab that monitor, and it is loose. You know I've been doing that for decades. Until we designed this particular system where you just put it in our Z-Lock. Now it's a pinch-type lock system, and I can twist and turn. I can lift this whole camera package up with it. And now, when you bring that metal together, it makes it so that you can't remove it.
We have that in several places. It's on our handle.
I mean, it's on our rails. You can see, I mean, we can remove this entire camera package in seconds, the whole thing, including the camera. And that's actually really nice. A lot of people want to pop the camera off really quick. You flip this lever, and the camera comes right out of the system.
Right.
And you can go off and do photos and whatever, and then you lock it back on, and you can build this thing back up like as quickly as we tore it down.
It's fast.
Where's the EVF? I mean, that's insane how quickly you can put this system back together. Look at that.
And really, it's all in its pre-adjusted position.
Oh, yeah. Once you adjust your EVF, you can tear it down, take it out of the case, put it in, however you want to pack this up. So this is our next-gen recoil. We've been working on this for quite some time, and I'm really proud of this system. I think that this is a system that you can use now and into the future. You can change out all your cameras, and you don't have to have all these different base plates like we had in the past.
Yeah, this is it.
So I'm very happy to introduce our next-gen recoil.
Yeah, and there it is, the next-gen recoil. Innovate it, inspire, and create. Right there. Just get to it. Don't just sit around doing nothing. Listening to me. Yeah, don't do that. So that's the Recoil 2 rig, and if you haven't invested in any Zacuto gear yet, I can't think of any better time to start investing in your rig. If you've if you've got a camera, anywhere from a DSLR on up to the cinema cameras, very versatile and just a super piece of kit. Definitely gonna last the long haul. I mean, I've got some Zacuto gear from 8, 9 years ago, still rock solid, hasn't broken down not one iota. So yeah, give them a check out at zacuto.com /next-generation-recoil. That's where you can get the full presentation there, and you should check that out. Even all you lame ass DSLR shooters out there. I know. Freaking elitist. Well, there we go. We're just pretty much out of time for this edition of Film 101 this week. I want to remind everybody that Real Talk, which was supposed to be on preceding this show tonight, has been moved back the week. She'll be back on next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, of course. And she'll be breaking down those films for you and giving you the skinny and the reviews on the latest and greatest in the cinema world, that Kate Taylor will. And so I guess on behalf of Mark and myself and the rest of the gang here at the old HTLA, you have yourself a good night. Be sure to check out HTLAradio1.com. That's the cool new flash site. Yes. Check that out. Check out all our shows. And I will catch you here same time next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, for another fine Film 101. Yes. Catch you later, gang.
are HTLA Radio 1. You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. We will add your distinctiveness, your advertisers, and your sponsors to our own. Resistance is futile.